You ever sit down and play Skyrim? Everything's going great, and then suddenly your horse is climbing a vertical cliff, your companion vanishes into the void, or a dragon is flying backwards while yelling at a tree? Yeah, that's Skyrim. It's buggy, it's broken, it crashes when you least expect it, and somehow, I wouldn't change a single thing. You know, those weird, janky, and completely ridiculous moments are what make it feel like Skyrim. They're what makes it ours. Let's be honest, Skyrim has never been a perfect game. Even when it first launched, people were laughing about NPCs walking into walls and physics that had minds of their own. But while most games get forgotten after a few years, Skyrim's become this eternal, cozy mess that we keep coming back to, because its flaws make it seem real. There's something kind of comforting about how broken Skyrim can be. You'll spend hours setting up your mods, tweaking your load order, thinking, this will definitely be stable. And the game just says, nope, and crashes the moment you pick up a cabbage. That's part of the ritual, right? Like a weird form of bonding between you, your save file, and Todd Howard's Chaos Engine. And somehow, that frustration turns into affection. Every Skyrim player has that one story. The one where something went horribly wrong but ended up being hilarious or even weirdly magical. For me, it was when I was able to scale the nearly 90-degree mountainsides of the Throw of the World with nothing but my horse and the mindset of, yeah, this can save me so much time. Moments like that stick with you, way more than the scripted ones ever do or ever will. Skyrim's world feels alive because it's imperfect. The NPCs don't always act right. Sometimes they'll sit on invisible chairs or start random fights with chickens, but that unpredictability is what makes it feel organic. It's like the game isn't just running, it's existing. Every time something dumb happens, it reminds you that this world isn't a sterile, scripted playground. It's a sandbox that's constantly trying and failing to hold itself together, just like us. That's why, even after 1,000 playthroughs, no two feel the same. You could load into Skyrim with the same character build, same quest path, same mods, and something will always go differently. Maybe a guard gets eaten by a dragon mid-sentence. Maybe your follower launches off a cliff because of one physics hiccup. But those little moments of chaos, they're what make the adventure yours. I think, deep down, we don't love Skyrim in spite of its flaws. We love it because of them. Because every bug, every crash, every I used to be an adventurer like you, reminds us that this game has personality. It's not clean or polished or perfect. It's something far better. It's alive. Maybe that's why we keep coming back. Because just like us, Skyrim's never quite finished. It's constantly being patched, rebuilt, reimagined, and somehow it still manages to surprise us after all these years. You know what I really think it is though? Skyrim still feels like a game that was made by people who loved games. You can feel the fingerprints of the developers everywhere, in the weird side quests, the unpolished dialogue, even the stuff that barely works. It's messy, but it's sincere. It feels like it was built by a team that cared more about creating a world than perfecting a product. You could see it in the way that NPCs say things that don't quite make sense, or how there's always some random detail tucked away in a cave that no one was ever supposed to find. It's the kind of world building that only happens when the people behind it are having fun. And that's something I think most modern games have kind of lost. Today, so many big games feel like they were made in boardrooms, clean, safe, optimized for engagement metrics instead of imagination. They don't feel like passion project anymore, they feel like content. But Skyrim feels like a handmade game. It's rough around the edges, stitched together with love, caffeine, maybe a bit of spaghetti code, but that's what gives it its soul. It reminds us of a time when developers seemed to actually enjoy the worlds they were building, not just assembling them to hit quarterly goals. Maybe that's why, even with the bugs and crashes, it still connects with people deeply, more than polished games today ever could. Because under all that broken code, you could still feel the heartbeat of the people who made it. It's almost ironic. Back then, developers were fighting against the limits of their tools. Now it feels like they're fighting against the limits of creativity. Somewhere along the way, gaming became more about maintaining control. Perfect performance, perfect balance, perfect lighting. But when everything's perfect, there's nothing left to feel. Skyrim, for all of its rough edges, feels like a snapshot of a different era, when developers didn't mind letting the seams show. Those imperfections are proof that real people were behind it, experimenting, breaking things, trying ideas that might not work but still mattered. It's like a hand-painted world in an age of mass-produced canvases. Maybe that's why so many of us keep coming back, because in a time where everything is optimized, Skyrim feels authentic. It doesn't care about being modern, it just exists, unapologetically in its own imperfect way. When you load up Skyrim today, it almost feels like revisiting an old friend, one who hasn't changed much, but somehow that's the point. It's comforting, familiar. It's the same awkward, glitchy friend who makes you laugh without even trying. I think that's something modern games will struggle to replicate. They might look better, run smoother, have more content, but they don't linger in your memory the same way. Because no matter how advanced technology gets, you can't patch in heart. Skyrim's brokenness isn't a flaw to fix, it's a reminder of what we've lost. That sense of wonder, of creativity, of making something imperfectly human. And maybe that's why, all these years later, we are still here, wandering through its frozen mountains, chasing dragons, and laughing every time a cabbage goes flying across the room. So yeah, Skyrim might be buggy, broken, a little bit cursed, but honestly, that's what makes it special. It's a game that's still standing strong over a decade later, not because it's perfect, but because it's perfectly imperfect. It's flawed, human, still full of heart, and in a gaming world that feels more mechanical every year, that might be the rarest thing of all. If you enjoyed this little reflection, make sure to subscribe for more. I've got plenty more stories and adventures to share. And as always, stay safe, my friends.